So I was surfing through my comments last video and I saw this comment. And it reads that you should rank killers of their chances of getting caught by James Doakes. And as you guys all know that I'm kind of essentially a Dexter channel because that's kind of all I talk about, and James Doakes is from Dexter, so why not make this video of ranking these serial killers by their chances of getting away or escaping from James Doakes. Now before we get into this video, let me explain the tiers for you guys so you understand what I am ranking. Coming in at S tier is they'd beat James Doakes, which is pretty self-explanatory. Next is Doakes would put them behind bars, which is essentially the win for James Doakes, and Doakes would find out about their identity, but he couldn't actually get enough proof to put them behind bars. And Doakes would only have suspicions, which means that he'll have a gut feeling, but he won't actually find out their identity and he wouldn't put them behind bars. He would just have a feeling. Now coming in first we have Light Yagami. Now, this is going to be Doakes' hardest matchup on this list, considering the fact that Light literally has a supernatural book to help him defeat anyone who stands in his way. But for those of you who haven't seen the show Death Note and don't know what the Death Note is actually capable of doing, I'll give you a brief rundown. So whoever is in possession of the Death Note, which Light is in this situation, they can write down anybody's name in the book and then the person dies. But Light needs to see the face and the person's birth name, not like a nickname or anything like that, to actually make it work for certain. Now if Light ever knew Doakes was on his trail, Doakes would be dead instantly. All Light would have to do is just go onto Miami Metro's website and search the homicide section, find his face because he would already know that he's on his trail, and then just write down his name. And you might be saying, how would Light even know that he's on his trail? Because, I mean, this is James Doakes we're talking about. Doakes is a very aggressive and impulsive person because I'm sure, as you all know, when he was stalking Dexter, he let it be known to Dexter that he was following him. Like, he didn't do it discreetly or anything. Like, literally, everywhere that Dexter went, Doakes was behind him in plain sight. He would even point at him saying, I'm watching you. Like, imagine if he did that to Light Yagami. And he 100% would, because that's just how Doakes operates. And I'm not gonna lie, if L couldn't prove that Light was Chigurh, bro. So Light Yagami 100% is beating James Doakes, no questions asked. Coming in second, we have Berkman. Now, let's be real. Barry is a pretty sloppy person. Sure, he's a very skilled hitman, but his personal life is a complete disaster. Every time he tries to get out or have a fresh start, he ends up leaving a trail of bodies and suspicion behind him. And that's exactly the kind of stuff that our good old pal Doakes thrives on. Now, Doakes is a bloodhound when it comes to spotting cracks in some people's stories, and Barry has nothing but cracks. Remember, this is the same guy who thought he could balance acting classes with contract killing. I mean, same with Dexter. He thought that he could balance his work life with a serial killing. And Doakes noticed that something was up with him. He didn't notice that he was actually a serial killer, but he noticed that something was still up with Dexter to pursue him. So he would 100% know that something is up with Barry to pursue him. And let's not forget, Barry kind of gets caught slipping a lot. It wouldn't take long before Barry either snapped or exposed himself or made a dumb move trying to scare Doakes off. So in terms of chances of getting caught, Barry is basically handing Doakes the evidence, but it would come with a cost. Now, in my opinion, I don't think Barry wouldn't even hesitate to put a cap in Doakes. And if it went down to a 1v1 situation, which I'm pretty sure it would, Barry is 100% winning in a gunfight, no questions asked. Honestly, let me just do 50-50. If Doakes gets enough information to actually put Barry behind bars, or even just build up a case for other people in Miami Metro to use against him, he could put him behind bars even if James Doakes is dead. Like, he would still have the case in the computer system and everything. And next we have Patrick Bateman. Now, on paper, Bateman is the perfect cover. You know, he's a rich Wall Street banker, and you know, he always has the flawless business card. And to the outside world, he looks completely untouchable. But I'm sure, as we all know, Doakes doesn't fall for masks, as this is kind of going to be a common theme in this video. And Bateman's problem is that he wants people to see the monster behind his mask. He constantly brags and constantly puts himself in situations where someone could actually easily figure him out. Like, remember that scene where he actually admits that he killed Paul Allen? And then the guy was like, no, you actually did it, and that's impossible. And then he's like, why not, you stupid bastard. Doakes wouldn't really have to do any work in this situation. Patrick would kind of just hand himself in, and even at the end scene of the movie, he literally turns himself in. Well, he doesn't turn himself in, but he confesses all the murders. So I mean, like, this guy is going to crack really easily. He is 100% going behind bars. Next, we have Anton Chigurh. So unlike someone like Barry Berkman or Patrick Bateman, Anton doesn't really slip up at all. Like, he's this very calm person, and he operates with an almost robotic level of control. Like, seriously, if Anton Chigurh were real, I bet you money there would be conspiracy theories that he's the real life Terminator. And he doesn't brag about what he does, and he never really leaves things to chance. Well, I mean, unless it's a coin flip, he does. And Anton lives by his own code, and he sticks to it with absolute discipline. Like, I'm talking about absolute discipline. And that makes him unpredictable for most people, but also incredibly hard to trap. Now, here's when things get interesting. Doakes will push a suspect until something breaks, but Anton, on the other hand, doesn't break. He doesn't scare, and if Doakes ever cornered him, it wouldn't end in arrest, it would end in a shootout. And Doakes might not walk away from that one. Like, if Anton knew that Doakes was on his trail, he'd wait for Doakes to get off work, then go to sleep, then he would walk into his house and pop him right then and there. I feel like Anton's beating Doakes. And next we have Ghostface. Now, since there are countless Ghostfaces in the Scream franchise, we're gonna do the OGs, Billy and Stu. Now, let's be real, these two are teenagers playing dress up, and they are not disciplined serial killers whatsoever. Like, their whole plan in Scream is built on chaos and showmanship, not really with a brilliant plan or solid execution whatsoever. They just like love taunting victims and just bragging about their master plan. Like, Billy and Stu would just be leaving clues all over the place. They make phone calls, they get emotional, and they argue with each other like mid-crime. Like, are you serious? And they just can't help to draw attention to themselves. Like, their downfall in Scream was literally that they couldn't stop talking. They wanted to explain everything and take credit for everything. Like, imagine them trying that with Doakes. Like, he wouldn't be standing there listening to their monologue whatsoever. They're getting put behind bars 100%. Next, we have Hannibal Lecter. Unlike almost every other killer on this list, Hannibal isn't sloppy. He isn't arrogant in a way that shows his true self, and he doesn't leave any evidence lying around. Now, the scary part is that Doakes' own aggression could backfire on him instantly here. Now, Hannibal thrives on studying people and exploiting their weaknesses, and Doakes doesn't play subtle. As we all know, this guy just charges right in, and he makes his presence completely known, which is truthfully so stupid, and that's the exactly kind of behavior that Hannibal could manipulate, either to make Doakes look completely unhinged, or worse, to lure him into a trap that he doesn't walk out of, like many of the other detectives who come looking for the Chesapeake Ripper. If anything, the only person that's going to be in danger in this scenario is James Doakes, and Hannibal would probably just serve his remains to his guests with a nice glass of wine. So yeah, I mean, this is no contest at all. He beats Doakes 100%. Next, we have Leon Prader. Now, you might be saying, wait, Leon Prader isn't a serial killer, and he isn't even a killer. Well, technically, he is now a killer because of episode 9, where he kills Angel Batista. And honestly, is that his first kill? I think it is, because in episode 10, he was like, I finally got a taste of what it feels like to be a killer. So honestly, I do think that is his first kill. So technically, yeah, no, he's a killer. I feel like Doakes would only have his suspicions about Leon Prader. I feel like Doakes would 100% think that something is wrong with Leon Prader, because on the surface, Leon is this billionaire who seems to have such a squeaky clean record and has a track record of donating millions to law enforcement, which is essentially Dexter all over again. Now, we know that Leon is more charismatic than Dexter, and one of the reasons Doakes was so suspicious of Dexter was because of his awkwardness. I feel like Doakes would definitely suspect that there's something wrong with him, but I feel like that's all there would be to this. And next we have John Doe from 7. So every murder from John Doe was completely planned down to the last detail. Like, he was patient enough to wait years to make his masterpiece happen, and that patience alone makes him harder to pin down than most killers Doakes has really ever faced in his entire life. So what would happen if Doakes is the one chasing him? I mean, honestly, Doe gets caught because, I mean, This is his whole plan. He was intended to get caught inevitably. But the real question in this scenario is whether Doakes would recognize the trap before stepping into it, because if you guys haven't watched 7, the trap happens at the very end when he turns himself in. And given how aggressive and confrontational Doakes is, it's kind of very possible that he'd walk right into John Doe's game, kind of just like Mills did. This one is again another 50-50, because Doakes would put him behind bars, but then at the end of the day, does he actually win the mind games or not? And last but not least, we have Norman Bates. And yeah, no, Norman Bates is getting put behind bars with ease from James Doakes. And yeah, we didn't use this tier at all because honestly, out of every character I picked on this tier list, I mean, it's kind of hard to make a tier list with James Doakes because really he isn't that intelligent. Like, he really isn't a great detective. I mean, practically everybody in Miami Metro is a terrible detective. If we're being honest, the only really good person was actually James Doakes, if you count Frank Lundy, but he wasn't a part of Miami Metro. So yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard to make a tier list like this with James Doakes. You kind of have to put him up against the worst serial killers of all time, and that would kind of just make for just a really boring video. So yeah, no, this is the tier list. Let me know.